Broadcasting the podcasting.
Or we will be. Okay, we're live. All right, and let me go ahead and social us.
Mark, do you know how the intros go?
Oh, that's a good one.
I think you're about to tell me.
Well, now we're not.
Yeah, now you're just gonna figure it out.
Now it's a
on the fly.
secret.
Damn it!
No, we should add Mark to the thing at the top there.
Oh
We
yeah.
should. Ryan, you won't be last.
A little bit of
Yeah.
natural light there.
I'm gonna go out of order.
It's with a K, right?
Yeah, it's with a K. K for Kardashian. That's right.
And
Okay, and I'm gonna start recording. Okay.
Anonymous Manatee.
It's my favorite kind of manatee.
Well, it was Anonymous Lemur earlier, and then something else.
Now it's I see an anonymous dingo, Matt.
Yeah, that's the other one it was. It's updated on mine. It was dingo earlier, now it's a manatee.
There is an anonymous chupacabra too.
Nice.
Is there really?
Yeah.
So it's both anonymous and fictitious.
I love lemurs.
Yep, lemurs.
I like turtles.
Oh boy. All right, so I am recording, and it is 5:29, and I have socialed us, and I think good to go. Let me go ahead and close out all my windows here. Get the post window open. And yeah, okay. So I'll do the pre-roll, and then is everybody else ready?
Ready?
Okay. This week's Android Police podcast is brought to you by Linode. Check out linode.com/Android Police, and you'll get a free $20 service credit just for signing up.
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Thursday, March 31st, 2016. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm David Reddick.
I'm Liam Spradlin.
I'm Ryan Whitmore.
If I'm the last one, do I say my name? Oh, I'm Mark Bursteiner.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one. I think that really gets the point across.
In case it wasn't obvious, Mark is joining us for the first time tonight, so welcome, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
In some
Pleasure
of our
to be here.
pictures.
So this is the day before April Fool's Day, so everything you hear tomorrow will be false, which means that everything we're going to say tonight will be true.
I think that's how that works, yeah.
Oh,
We will
man.
say everything tonight true, which is different than our normal show, so...
Yeah, usually we
try to
just
follow
lie
along.
and make things up. That's
Yeah,
actually
normally.
I actually have an April Fool's story planned for tomorrow, and it's going to be 90% of people won't get it, but the 10% that do are going to make it so worth it. It's going to
Ooh-wee. It's going to be a knee slapper.
It is. It's well, I don't know. It's going to be. I don't know what you'll be slapping, but maybe something. I don't know. Not sure.
I mean,
Right.
I'm not very...
So I haven't completely ruined our flow in this episode already. I haven't utterly
Not yet. Not yet.
yet. So
All right,
we
so,
have
we'll
topics or whatever.
Yeah, we'll start things off.
I'm still ruining it.
You're ruining everything, David. Don't you have a pie bet to make or something?
Oh God, no.
No pie bets to make.
Too many pastries have died at my face.
All right, so we're going to kick things off with a little Google I.O. news. First of all, if you got yourself entered in to win a ticket through the lottery system, I say win. You still have to pay for it. It's not really winning. But if you entered in the lottery and you didn't win a ticket, there's some new ways to get in. Apparently, there's an Experiments I.O. challenge that's been rolling out. Yeah.
I feel like this is like a lot to ask, isn't it? Like you have 6 weeks to create an actual app and make it ready for open source and submit it, and then hope that all of that work pays off in I.O.
You have much less time than that though. You have to have it entered by April 13th.
Okay, so you have 13 days.
Yeah, so this is like you have better have already been working on something, and now you have to turn it into to an Android experiment and upload it to the site.
That seems totally practical.
The Google I/O Thunderdome.
I mean, but if you look at a lot of the featured stuff on the Android Experiment site, most of it is, it's fairly simple stuff. There are like neat watch faces and little, like there's some games for Android Wear, some like photo effects apps, and then there are like crazy stuff like the Android powered RC car and that Google Now Mirror thing that was floating around the internet a while back. That's on there. I'm sure that would take more than 2 weeks to implement. But if you really want to go to I/O and you're actually a developer, this is it's another way to maybe get a ticket.
I think they should use my suggestion and actually get people to go to a local raffling facility and put them all in the giant metal cage and then drop people out of the bottom. And whoever gets dropped out of the bottom wins a ticket.
I'm confused as to why we haven't yet started the tradition of sports ball heads, they get to tailgate, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to tailgate. If there's an event going on
it's
outside
at the
of
shoreline
Moscone,
now, so you totally could.
Exactly. Like we can live stream it, we can watch all of the sessions from our computers, and we can tailgate Google I/O.
I mean, is there some sort of like area where you could watch I/O like from a distance with a telephoto lens?
The parking lot.
We could just. I mean, hey, why not? Packers fans get to do it.
Packers fans, I/O attendees, same difference.
Same difference. Dude.
One just has less cheese. Foam cheese.
Slightly less.
And slightly better weather. Not that
Slightly.
Ryan knows anything about that.
Hmm.
The joke is that Ryan does.
He does.
He probably doesn't know much about the Packers, but he probably does know a little bit about the weather.
I know this is like completely off topic, but it took me probably like 25 years out of my life to realize that Minnesota is actually further north than Wisconsin.
Slightly. Most parts of it.
I don't know, like I always just thought Wisconsin, like Green Bay, frozen tundra was like the pinnacle of cold, and then there's like, oh yeah, well there's Minnesota too.
Well, the reason Americans are so terrible at world geography is because we got 50 fucking states to memorize here. And it's like, well, if I'm going to memorize like at least like 35 out of 50 of these, I have no room left for countries. Like Mexico and Canada, I know America's hat and shoes. That was probably really demeaning. But yeah, so
Wow,
that's
America's
right
hat
there.
and shoes. I mean, they're probably it's like a Versace hat though, and like really nice shoes.
You may also be interested to know that we are further north than Toronto here in Minnesota.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that's true.
So further north in parts of Canada, which
Yeah,
have
the
already been-
curvature of the Earth is a real bastard that way.
It
Man,
is.
science is confusing, huh?
Super confusing. So,
Yeah. Anyways, so by the way, the Android experiments, 3 people will win tickets, and then 3 people.
what?
Wait. Were we actually talking about news? I forgot what was happening.
Yes.
3?
3
Is that
people.
real?
This is like, that's half a Willy Wonka contest. I mean, come on. You just had to buy a bar of chocolate for that. You got to develop a whole app to go to I/O.
So
That's
the
how
top,
to get to see
amount of work.
Palookas.
so the top 3 projects will earn their creator a trip to Google I/O.
I think that they know they're not going to get that many entries.
Yeah, probably. And then
Yeah.
3 runners-up get a Nexus 6P. So I guess there's a consolation prize.
Here's $500 for the last 2 weeks worth of work you put in.
Hey man, that's better than McDonald's.
Surprise!
Also, I mean, the stipulation for this is that they do have to like make the app available open source. So if this was a commercial venture they were planning, that would be maybe not what they wanted to do.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So what's actually going to happen is Google is then going to build those experiments into Android and then profit. I don't know how that works, but somehow. Step 3 is profit. All right, so one of the things that we're hearing might be announced at Google I/O is a new group conversation app, apparently being called Spaces. So, well, Why do we need a new group conversation app?
Oh, okay, look, this excites me greatly, and I think that it's a really good thing. Mostly just because the Hangouts team has made a wonderful point that they are completely incapable of handling that product. So, in my mind, I'm hoping that they're just trying to get the Hangouts team the hell off of whatever messaging platform they're trying to push. Let messages be messages again to focus on SMS, part of Android, and whatever their group chat thing is, maybe it might wind up being Spaces, but my theory is they're just trying to give it to a different team because I don't think anybody's particularly pleased with how Hangouts has been handled.
I can buy into that. Sounds all right to me.
Yeah, we haven't been able to actually use the app yet to find out if it feels like
Right.
something that could replace Hangouts because it's
So
still
what is this?
internally
Because
tested.
I didn't have a real chance to look at
It's
it.
like a private Google Tumblr.
Yeah, it's like you make like a space for like some topic or
Right.
like thing or an event or whatever, and then you can add people to it, and it's like a little ongoing like group chat
Okay.
thing.
Interesting.
But I don't know if it's intended to be like a full like messaging replacement.
This
I don't know, man. It seems pretty close, dude. I mean, it looks like it. I don't want to say feature for feature, but it's pretty darn close to Hangouts, and it looks like it's even richer than Hangouts is. Like when iOS got updated with, excuse me, support for Snapchat-like features in messages, it was a big deal. And as an Android user, I felt kind of silly because our messaging ish is just not together yet. And this looks really pretty darn rich to me. It seems like, and from the screenshots that you posted, Ryan, you can see under instant groups for everything in life, it seems like it's everything as small as just like a one-on-one conversation all the way up to like a nice big group thing. I
Yeah,
don't know,
but
man.
I mean, I don't know that like if I just want to send somebody a message, I don't want to like have a top like I don't want to like make a space
I'd like to
and
make a
topic.
300-word
Like,
Medium post
Can I-
about why
can
I'm
I
sending
just,
you this message.
I pick a header image and a topic and say no, I just want to send a message. Like I don't
Yeah.
need all this stuff.
so
I think. Go ahead, Liam.
Let's get
Um,
pizza. My hero image is pepperoni.
I feel like I don't know. Honestly, I feel about 70% that this won't even get released to consumers.
Yeah, it seems like an experiment.
It feels very much like the kind of weird kind of apps that they've experimented with in the past, like Tablescapes, for instance, like the food sharing thing. Like that was something that they just kind of like put together, tested with some people, and then they were like, okay, thanks for the feedback, bye. Like, and it feels like that to me.
I don't know. I feel more like it's like Schemer, where it's going to be something they're going to come out with and just nobody's going to use it.
Yeah, and there are
Could be
those
that
apps
too,
too. There's like Who's Down, which like do people-
Maybe they will use it at Google I/O as a way to gather people's discussion around particular sessions.
like a hashtag.
But that's exactly what they're going to do, though. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what they're going to do.
But we-
Hangouts was intended as this, like, cool, it's small groups for conversations. I really think they're going to announce Spaces at I/O. They're gonna be like, yo, Spaces are great. Make a space for just one person or make a space for everyone at I/O, for everyone to have a giant public conversation about something. Or you can flip the switch and turn it off. There was actually an app that I worked on while I was at an app house called Fueled that had this sort of idea of a chat app or platform that can support both a one-to-one private conversation and a sort of large public event like a concert or conference like this.
Yeah, see, and my general takeaway is this sounds very high concept, and anything Google does that's very high concept generally just like falls apart very quickly once practicalities emerge around it. A lot of these Google ideas just seem very very ambitious, and that's like, oh well, this would never work for a list of obvious reasons about 2 pages long. So I don't know. It feels like the way I feel about these Google experiments is that I think they release them internally, and if it's like crazy popular internally, maybe they consider publicly releasing them. But there's probably a whole set of checks and meetings that have to happen before you get to that stage.
Right.
I feel like
And
they experiment a lot internally.
And I think to speak a little bit more to the topic of an actual messaging app altogether, a commenter on the post made a great point. I cannot ask my friends to message me on yet another platform. I can't do it. I will lose most of my friends. I've got my parents on Hangouts, man. Like, my family's on Hangouts now. I cannot possibly. And don't even start me with my wife. Like, I've already gotten her to download many, many apps. If I ask her to download another one,
You just have to pick a compelling enough header image, Mark.
I just need a better here. See, I need you to design a really nice one for me. You just make it like a block of cheese, a slice of pizza, and ice cream, and then she'll be fine.
That sounds fantastic.
She's actually, like, she seems interested in all of this right now. That was the end of my. I don't have anything else to say.
Okay. So now we have our daily outrage space.
Daily outrage space. Google Wallet card. So I got an email. Actually today, telling me that my Google Wallet card is not going to work anymore. And I thought, you know what? Dang it! I was really meaning to use that at some point.
I have a Google Wallet card. I was never meaning to use it.
I have a Google Wallet card as well, but I don't know where it is.
I got it, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to hang on to this, and as soon as it gets really cool, I'm going to use it.
As soon as it gets really cool. That feels like every other Google product ever. As soon as it gets really cool, I'm totally going to use it every day.
That is 100% what I mean. Like, I wound up using mine once in a pinch. I don't even know how that was the card that I wound up with, but it was at Cafe Himalaya in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and that happened to be the only card that I could find on my person, and that's literally the only time I used it.
Well, it worked? So
it did work. It did work. It was declined the first time though because I hadn't pointed it to the right other card.
Oh yeah, because you can change it on the fly, right?
Right.
Wasn't
Right.
this- Like, we heard about this, and then we heard that like Google decided they didn't like it, and then it just came out anyways.
Correct.
And then it hung around.
Yeah, it seems like it came out with a subset of the features that we originally thought it was going to have, and then like
Right.
that made it pretty boring and not very.
But I'm just really confused because we heard that they didn't like it, and then they made it worse and released it anyway.
I think they hit some sort of a snag, and then, like you said, it really did just become the awkward kid who heard about the party but wasn't really invited and just kind of knew whose house it was at. So he shows up and he's like, "So
Yeah.
you guys,
And
you
then
guys want
like
a party?"
a year or two later, they kick him out.
Yeah, he's for some reason still living there, not paying rent.
it's like the guy who lives on the couch in Half Baked.
Yeah, like I don't know.
So,
I mean,
so yeah, the card is going away on June 30th. But the other part of this that I think is even like more concerning for people who actually use Wallet. Starting on May 1st, you can't even add your own funds to your Wallet account. It becomes like just a way like for you to like receive money from other people, and then you
Wait,
would like
what?
offload it.
The whole Wallet account?
Yeah, it says on May 1st you can no longer
So,
transfer money
Let me
into
just go ahead and
Wallet.
redirect you to the part where I said Wallet was dying.
And
where it is.
it's so like their whole thing is like they just want it to be a way to like send and receive money. So like you would connect some other funding source to Wallet and use that to send money, and then like when it arrives, somebody would get it in their Wallet account, but then they would probably put it someplace else because you can't add more funds to Wallet.
Yeah.
So the idea is that they're PayPal, but without the pretense of mattering.
Yeah,
well,
I guess.
well, it's not just PayPal either at this point. It's their PayPal, their Square Cash, their Venmo, their like any number of payment sharing services. Like they haven't done anything compelling to make me want to use that over something
Yeah.
else. In
And-
fact,
and then
Square Cash
Wallet-
is even better now.
And then Wallet has that added benefit of Google may choose to ban you at its whim.
Oh
which
yeah,
is
that's
that
one of the
scary.
reasons that I never really wanted to go out of my way to use the Wallet card is because I'm terrified of like something happening to my Wallet account and it causing me to get banned because I've heard of that happening. Like I know people who've had their Wallet accounts just banned because something looked fishy, and
Yeah,
like
well, to
and
be
that
fair,
locks you out
PayPal
of
does
paying.
that too.
Huh?
PayPal does that too. I had
Right,
a friend who got banned from PayPal for sending winnings for a fantasy football league to somebody else.
Right. I mean, but I could I could cope with that. But like, if your wallet account is banned, then you can't buy anything on your Google account anymore, which is like, for somebody like me, is a big problem.
Oh yeah, that would be a big problem.
Yeah, so Google Wallet continues to relegate itself to Google Wallet's not even a product anymore, really.
Yeah, I don't
at this
even know
point.
why I don't know why you would use it. Like I feel like it's just they're leaving some like tiny stub.
It's kind of like, well,
service
we can't integrate that to Android Pay because it's called Android Pay, and that doesn't make sense.
You just
Thus,
took words
wallet
right
is
out of my mouth.
justified.
Yep, correct. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Which, like, Android Pay is called such because they didn't want to hide the features in Wallet because nobody knows what Wallet is. Or what?
So the sad part is I can already see a time in the future where Android Pay gets renamed to Google Pay or Google Wallet or some sort of more platform agnostic name.
Calling it Android Pay does seem very short-sighted on there.
It does. It does. It really, really does, because that's not something that'll ever be supported on anything but an Android device unless it changes its name.
It's weird they didn't go with like Google Pay or something.
Well, I think that's what Liam's saying, right?
Yeah, I don't understand the Android Pay thing. I guess the only thing I can come up with is that Wallet is something that already exists and people don't use it, so they were afraid to like brand it close to that.
Yeah, it's odd.
Well, we remember how the Android market worked out for them.
Super well.
I
feel
oh my
like-
god, they could have called it Play Pay.
Or pay to play.
Pay. That's almost as bad as what Google Music was known as for like a few months. It was Google Play Music All Access. I think there was one or two more words in there for the actual full name of the service.
4G.
4G.
4G Touch.
4G Touch, Play Music, LTE Access, Unlimited.
Oh man, that site was great.
Oh, yes. So, that is our
What else?
daily outrage.
Daily outrage. I felt like we were insufficiently outraged.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Nobody here really cares.
Hey, Mark, you'll be happy to know on my spreadsheet you are now a lemur again. So.
Oh, thank goodness. Ugh.
I thought you said lever, and I was like, what? Like a simple machine, or you're a duck on my spreadsheet?
I've got a squirrel.
Wow, the duck is really nice. It looks like a rubber
man.
duck.
Liam, I could just listen to you make statements all day.
Thank you.
I just want
I don't know what to say.
I want a text. I want my text notification tone to just be Liam saying, "The duck is really nice." That's all I want.
I mean, we can make that happen.
Okay, that's the
Do we have a
episode
sounder
title.
for that?
The duck is really nice.
The duck is really nice.
Hey, Liam, do we have a sounder for that?
We don't
We
have
can
any
make one.
sounders.
We don't have any sounders.
Yeah, I asked for a sounder
Oh.
last week. Matt.
Matt.
Who's wait? Is it Matt's responsibility to make sounders? Is that what's happening?
It's apparently
Absolutely.
become my responsibility to make sounders.
Okay,
Considering-
let's talk about Google Fiber, which is something I think we all desperately want but can't have.
Yes.
Yes.
We should.
I live in Irvine right now, and I'm waiting. I'm hoping that I'm gonna leave this hellhole of a city, but I hope that before we leave, that fiber rolls out here, because it's one of the cities that's actually up next. Like, it's like up soon.
Yeah, it's up
So-
there with like Venice, right, or whatever.
It's up there, yeah, but it's probably just because Irvine, California just bent over and was like, hey, just whatever you want to do. So.
I know that it says phone not included on the website, but the phone, the like white handset that they chose to use on the site is just so like delightfully mundane. It's my favorite thing.
We should
I
point out
want-
we're talking about
okay.
landline phone service.
I want
Yes.
a landline
Yes.
service, but only if Google provides me a completely white rotary phone.
Yes. I would go a step further and demand a totally fire truck red rotary phone, actually.
This handset though is just like ultimately like the most normal looking thing that has ever existed. It's beautiful.
The red upgrade can be called the nuclear option.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
But I mean, I'm a little confused about why Google would even bother doing this. Are there that many people who want gigabit internet that then think, hey, I also still need a landline?
Well, my hunch is a lot of the cities that they're rolling out in are smaller, more rural cities. Like the very first city they rolled out in, if I remember correctly, was Kansas City, Missouri. I would imagine that a lot of the folks who are in a lot of these towns may be of a more senior age range and might be asking frequently, can I still have my landline? And when the answer is no,
But
they might not be willing.
Are those old people, are they really anxious to get their hands on gigabit internets?
Probably not when it's
Well-
like, how much is this going to cost me a month?
No.
No, see what this is for middle-aged parents who have kids who are pressing them to get Google Fiber.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
their cable provider had a landline. So now that they're switching to
That's
Google
funny.
Fiber,
How many people use a landline? Because neither of my parents have a landline anymore. My
Yeah,
girlfriend's parents do, but they're about 15 years older than my parents are. So they're old. So neither of my parents have a landline anymore. And
My
they're-
parents don't either.
my parents did. They had one through Time Warner Cable. So if they had switched to this, then they probably would have wanted that. But instead,
Yep.
they switched to Verizon Hotspot, and now they're hating
Lame.
life.
Lame. And I can also tell you, it's not even just necessarily particularly senior. I mean, I'm a nerd. I grew up, my dad's a nerd. Like, my dad's a computer engineer. So if fiber came to their neck of the woods, that's a thing that my dad would be asking for. My dad's not that old. How old's my dad? I should know this because his birthday was 2 days ago. Sorry, Dad. Dad's watching.
Guys, I just got the email from LG. It's not very good. Oh man.
David, you should save that for later.
Let's say that for
Oh,
next
man.
week after I've had a chance to lower my blood pressure. Oh,
Oh, man.
boy.
David, I gotta
imagine
see it. I gotta see it too, David.
Okay, let us move on to happier things.
To happier things like
Heck,
T-Mobile things,
Yeah, T-Mobile, the
T-Mobile
uncarrier,
things,
the
uncarrier.
carrier. They can do no wrong because they're in it for you.
So the story posted earlier this week that that T-Mobile was going to begin offering data-only simple choice plans on March 30th. It occurs to me all of a sudden that March 30th was yesterday. So
Yep.
Yeah, did
did
that
this
happen?
happen?
We probably should have looked into that.
We probably should have.
I don't think it happened, did it? Because we would have heard about that. Yeah, let's take a break and Google this.
Well, in the meantime, I have a question to pose. Who actually wants data-only plans? Like, of everybody here, who would use a data-only plan?
I would
I-
seriously consider it.
I would do it. For sure.
I hate phone calls so much.
I guess I would.
Hate.
I mean, I'm on 5, so I mean,
You kind of
Yeah,
are.
like-
But, here's the thing. Nobody's paying for phone service on any major carrier anymore anyway. You're just paying for service in
Right.
general, that comes with the data cap.
Right. And I think what it really comes down to for a lot of folks too is SMS as an ancient platform is just not aging well, and that's still the thing though that keeps people anchored to the to even having a cellular plan is
Yeah. Well, this leak, which I think probably did not come to be, it was supposed to include SMS. Like, it just didn't have voice.
see now that is something I can get on board with. I could happily get on board with that.
I am not seeing.
Yeah, I'm on T-Mobile's website. I don't see any option to get this currently.
Yeah, so I guess maybe they'll do that later. They should, because I think
Maybe.
a lot of people would be down with that.
I find it hard to believe that they would do this without an uncarrier event to correspond with it.
I have a feeling that John, how do you say his name? Ledger,
Ledger,
Ledger.
or as we like to say on the show, leg air.
Yeah, like
Leguere.
El Guerrero. Yeah, I think he might be starting to get a little bit tired, and I would hope anyway, that whoever's behind marketing at T-Mobile is starting to get a little wary of these kinds of events because John has spouted his mouth off a number of times at this point, and I think any more uncarrier attention is gonna very quickly start to turn to just carrier.
Really, the binge.
Honestly,
It seems to me the binge on one is the only one that really blew up in his face. I mean,
but honestly though, like after that, after he went on what was it, like Periscope or something, and just
Yeah.
started berating people on Twitter for questioning him, like after that, I just don't give a crap.
Oh,
Like, I could not care less.
he caught some heat for like the really aggressive language when they were talking about throttling people who use too much data. When he was like
Right.
calling them like data hogs or whatever, or like
Right.
that they were like screwing over other people. Like the people were not okay with that either. I mean, he's
Well, it also started
he's
a
a
large
very
conversation.
loud guy.
He's a loud guy, but it's not just about him. I think that incident started a much larger conversation about what makes it okay for them to call themselves an uncarrier in the first place. And if they're going to behave just like every other carrier does behind the scenes in terms of setting very dangerous precedents when it comes to net neutrality, then as far as I'm concerned, you've lost my loyalty and my buy-in. If you had asked me a year and a half ago, I would have told you that I was having a phenomenal experience with T-Mobile, but now I'm only too happy to pay Project Fi to, like, as my wife said when we signed up for Project Fi, she goes, wait a second, I can use T-Mobile but not have to pay them directly? That is the most punk rock thing I've ever heard. Like, I don't want to have to pay T-Mobile directly to use cell service, and I don't really want to have to pay any carrier right now to use cell service because I don't trust a single one of them.
You know, this whole we are talking about the throttling thing, right? Sarah, I was reading that LG email. Are we still talking about the
Yes,
data?
we're talking about throttling, yes.
So, you know, my whole thing with this is John Ledger has made this isn't a real person. So
It's a character.
It's a character, and he's built this character and this narrative around the character over the last few years. He's been very successful at it, and at times he's been hilarious. You know, he really has said some really funny, insightful things about the industry that was messed up, and I honestly think John Ledger has overall had a net positive effect on the U.S. wireless industry.
I would agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
I would agree.
I think that at this point, that character has run out of steam because he can no longer be truly genuine and still advance the interests of T-Mobile as a company.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
T-Mobile did a lot of like very consumer-friendly things,
Yeah.
but like they still have to make money. At a certain
Yeah.
point, they have to do things that will increase their revenue, and like those, like you can't just spin everything as this is an uncarrier way to make money. Like they're still a carrier.
Yeah, and that's what I think it really comes down to, especially, you know, when I was an Uncarrier X and John Ledger called me a hipster. It was, you know,
Damn.
the whole thing where, especially when they raised the prices of the plans without like really pointing it out, they're like, oh, these are the prices, and we're not going to show you the old prices because they're definitely the same or whatever. And then when, you know, I asked about 480p streaming, what DVD quality meant or whatever, and then people started like, oh, well, that's a little different, especially if it's opt out. You know, and we've seen commenters on our site, and these aren't unsavvy people who said, you know, I'm wondering why my T-Mobile video streams when I'm on mobile data look like crap on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, or why it's so slow, why it takes forever to buffer. And it's because of what they're offering. And what they're offering is a way to reduce overhead on the network by opting everybody on the network into this bandwidth consumption reduction policy, basically. And so this whole throttling thing, as far as the Netflix goes, what he said about AT&T and Verizon, you know, all right, I understand the point that people made where basically the end truth, the facts, supported him, but the way he said it, he was not supported.
Yeah, he wasn't taking a swipe at Netflix. He was trying to take a swipe at AT&T and Verizon, even though this particular thing is none of their doing.
I feel like the fact that he knew this and the AT&T and Verizon execs didn't points to the fact that he found it out from Netflix. Like,
I'm certain he found it out from Netflix
so
because they had to discuss it in their binge on agreement.
So we should clarify in case we haven't explained this and people didn't read the story. Netflix said that they are limiting, they're throttling streaming to AT&T and Verizon customers to 600 kilobits per second, I think, which works out to about whatever
360p.
360p, which is lower than the 480p that you get with Binge on T-Mobile. But they're doing this apparently specifically because AT&T and Verizon don't offer unlimited plans, and they have overages when you exceed whatever your data bucket is.
Also worth mentioning that the new Netflix mobile data saver option apparently is going to be the end of that. So
when
once
they roll
rolled
that out
Yeah.
in
Yes.
May, it's supposed to be
And
available.
that's what really makes it come off as bad for John Ledger. It's a bad look for him because what he basically said is, well, I need. It's almost as if maybe he knew that this would no longer be an issue in the future, and then
Right.
push it out there as something he could use as ammunition in the short term. Because what's going to happen is when that mobile data saver feature comes to all handsets, if you turn it off, it doesn't matter what network you're on. It'll stream it whatever the available bandwidth is for Netflix.
Right.
So what he said was, at its core, correct, but it was also disingenuous, and the blame was misdirected. He blamed AT&T and Verizon. He probably had an understanding that this mobile data saver feature existed. If he didn't, then obviously he was ill-informed to make the statement in the first place. And while what he said was correct, that they're delivering the content at a low bit rate, the parties implicated weren't responsible. Netflix was. So
Yeah.
it's there is a real reality distortion field going on with T-Mobile and John Ledger at this point,
there
and
definitely
you have to be cognizant of it. And I don't hate John Ledger or anything, but he is a showman. He's the ringmaster of the T-Mobile circus, and you have to watch out when the ringmaster is just trying to get you to watch the show.
Yeah,
And that's what he was doing here.
There's no doubt that I think the wireless industry is a lot better for consumers than it was a couple of years ago before T-Mobile started making these big moves. Because everybody has changed the way they do things a little bit, and that's great. But the longer this goes on, I think the fewer very stark differences John Ledger has that he can compare T-Mobile to say look how much better we're doing. So he's sort of reaching and coming up with this kind of sketchy stuff to explain why T-Mobile's better, and it just doesn't look good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
There it is. All right, so one little side bit of news to cover before we move on. There's a interesting little amendment that was made to the seller agreement on Amazon. Might or might not have something to do with a certain Googler calling out Amazon's dangerous Type-C cables that were available. So so apparently you cannot sell Type-C USB cables on Amazon anymore if they don't meet the strict guidelines of Type-C something or other.
I mean, that's fine by me.
Totally cool.
And
Yeah.
that's
I'm guessing somebody at Amazon basically spotted Benson's reviews and then the attention they were receiving in the media and realized that they kind of had to do damage control because Amazon was basically permitting sellers to sell, bad USB cables.
Yes,
To be fair,
cables, they can
Amazon
break
permits sellers in all different markets to sell all degrees of crappy products.
Yes, but okay, the thing is, are they reasonably aware the products are crappy? Can they know? Is there a systematic and formulaic behavior of those crappy products existing?
Crappy is a subjective term.
Yeah.
You might think something's crappy and other people think it's okay-ish. But these cables are this is does it meet the spec or not? And if it doesn't, then you're not supposed to sell it. And a couple of weeks back, Benson's laptop was fried by a bad cable.
Yep,
this
that's
stuff can actually break stuff, expensive stuff. So not selling is probably a good idea. It's like the hoverboards that'll set your house on fire. Amazon
Right.
doesn't sell those anymore either.
Yep.
Wait, there were
can-
hoverboards that would set your house on fire?
Oh yeah, did you not catch that?
Oh, I missed
Yeah,
that.
a bunch of cheaply made giant lithium-ion batteries from China in hoverboards would sometimes.
That sounds like a great way to get out of a bad mortgage. Am I missing the bad side here?
I will tell you, in my time using a Pixel C a lot, I only twice had to worry about the cables, but that's because Benson Lung helped me out, and I made sure to buy all the right ones first. So when I bought a bunch of USB-C cables, I made sure to buy ones that met spec. So I haven't had any trouble with anything risking being fried. But I could only imagine if really any device that supports USB-C, minimum $400, right? I'm not going to be thrilled if a $20 cable or a $10 cable fries a $400 device. So I'm fine with it.
I'm not clear on like why these manufacturers are using the wrong resistors. Is it just because USB-C is really new and they're using the parts that they still have from making older
Yeah, I'm going to
cables?
guess this is kind of probably an issue of reuse of older
Yeah,
components.
so I mean,
but I'm not
hopefully,
sure.
hopefully this is something that will mostly fix itself down the line. But I
Right.
mean, I guess in the meantime, if a cable is found to be defective, Amazon will stop offering it. But
Right.
somebody has to notice that it's not, that it doesn't work right.
I mean, it's an overhead issue, right? I mean, like all of the ones that are, you get what you pay for. The really cheap ones are all the ones that are all the problem. The ones that I've gotten are the nice. These are, I think, iOrange. I think is the brand.
That was one of the first ones that
Yeah.
was Benson approved. A lot of people.
Yeah, but these are more expensive by $4 or $5 than the other ones of comparable length. So, and they seem nice. They seem pretty well made, with the exception of the braiding. Actually, the braiding on this one is actually coming apart, but the cable itself is still very much functional. I want to do like a USB-C showdown soon. Once I can get like 14 different brands in here.
So yeah, that is the situation with Amazon and Type-C. I think it really comes down mostly to Amazon is aware of a specification that could reasonably be verified if they sample the product themselves, and if they don't ban it, they could risk getting sued. Is essentially probably my supposition there. There's an easy way to tell this product does not work the way it should. And if Amazon doesn't take a stance that says we don't allow this, then they're kind of tacitly allowing behavior
Right.
that could damage people's personal property.
Yep.
So I'm gonna guess the lawyers looked at this and went, "Yep, banned."
Banned.
So yeah,
All right, well, I think this is the point in the show where we take a break to talk about our sponsors. So, David, if you could cue that up, sir.
well, I muted my microphone, so that was a bad idea. Obviously, let me just go ahead and rewind that back. Have you ever wondered who hosts AndroidPolice.com? No? Well, I'm about to tell you anyways because of this week's podcast sponsor, Linode. And Android Police has been hosted on Linode for over 5 years now, and we've been very happy with them. And that really is a big part of why they're this week's podcast sponsor, because we can recommend them wholeheartedly. For being a listener of the Android Police podcast, you can get a $20 Linode service credit if you go to linode.com/AndroidPolice. That is LIN as in no, O-D as in dog, E.com/AndroidPolice. And that $20 credit isn't a credit you can't use. That gets you 2 months of service on Linode's base tier, which costs $10 a month. Everything's billed hourly, but if you price it out per month, it's $10 per month for that basic tier. And that gets you a gigabyte of RAM, a CPU core, 24 gigs of SSD storage, 2 terabytes of transfer capacity, 40 gigabits per second in connection on the network, and 125 megabits per second out, all for just $10 a month. Linode offers a variety of plans that scale all the way from 1 gigabyte of RAM and 1 CPU core to 96 gigabytes of RAM and 20 CPU cores. So they have something there for everybody, depending on your server needs. Linode has state-of-the-art servers. They've recently switched from Zen to KVM virtualization, which provided Unix benchmark increases of over 300% for virtual server performance. So they are fast. And that native SSD storage, coupled with a 40 gigabit network and processors, which are the new Intel E5 Xeon processors, which are very fast, offer you cutting-edge servers for not really all that high of a price. You get 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week support, even on holidays. There's a 7-day money-back guarantee for any service, and you can get a server running in under a minute. There are add-on services available for backups, node balancers, and Longview. Everything there to really meet your needs for a server. And like I said, if you head to linode.com/AndroidPolice and sign up today, you'll get that $20 credit. You can check out what Linode's all about. I mean, they host Android Police, and we like them. So what have we got to lose?
Alrighty. Well, thanks to Linode for sponsoring our show. David, You got an LG G5 review to talk about, don't you?
I thought you were gonna say an LG G5, and I was be like, I got two.
Damn.
And, yeah. So
You got two
Brian
reviews to talk
also
about?
has an
Yeah.
LG G5. So let's let's talk. So I dislike this phone, and it's rare that I'm actually going to say that about a big company's flagship phone product for a year. But I don't like it. I think it's ill-advised. I think the concept is just not right. I think it's a look into the future of smartphones in a way that it doesn't make sense, and it's just kind of LG, flailing its arms, hoping that it can stay relevant against a product that is superior in demonstrable ways. And they're essentially attempting to take the narrative from being, well, it's not about what a smartphone fundamentally does well, it's about all this other bullshit we're inventing for it to do. And that's what matters. And that's what I really disagree with fundamentally about this phone. It's essentially LG admitting, well, we can't do the really hard stuff really well, but we can throw all this other crap at you, and that's great, right? And you will charge you the same, basically, marginally less than Samsung does for their phone. Yeah, so that's really my gripe with this phone. And it's not true that the only phone I liked was the G3. I liked the G4 too at the time I reviewed it. Down the road, a little bit less so. Definitely less so. That phone got slow. But it was a good phone for the time it was released. This phone feels behind. I could see this phone having been released last year. That's really how I feel about it. The fundamentals on this phone feel like something from last year, and the value adds that LG is trying to present as cutting edge are essentially borderline worthless, at least in my opinion. And so what you end up with is a phone that does most things okay, but nothing exceptionally well, versus the phones that Samsung's released this year, which do a number of things exceptionally well, and don't have this kind of gimmick crap, that they're trying to push on the side. So yeah, that's my general opinion, and I guess we can all discuss it. What does everybody think of this phone? Because a lot of it really is what LG says on paper. That is, to me, a tremendous aspect of this phone is what they talk about, like with the accessories and the modularity and the friends, and it's not about the phone or the dual camera thing. It's a lot of stuff that's easily talked about without having actually used the phone.
Right. I obviously I haven't used one yet. I'm picking up from you on Monday, David. I'm going to spend a good amount of time with it before I do the video review for sure. But your points about the modularity I think are really interesting, because I feel like in a lot of other situations, many other companies have been lauded for being not I don't want to call them early adopters, but trailblazers in a particular field. And I think that getting a modular phone to market first is one of those things that should be praised. But that's not what we have, I don't think.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say getting to market first, like implying that that's something that other companies are gonna do. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, we've been waiting for Project Aura to happen for like 2 years now, and it hasn't yet. I think maybe because people don't really need it.
I don't think people don't really need it. I think that we're just not quite there in terms of being able to achieve the level of user experience that we would like to with something like that.
Yeah.
It seems to me like when you look at something like the Friends, if they had taken just a slightly different approach to the marketing on a modular phone, instead of saying this is the first truly modular phone or whatever that is that they actually are saying, if they had just announced this as a phone that you can make yourself and kind of let the modularity be the undertone, if they had taken a more of like a Moto X spin where you can buy it with the components that matter to you, not necessarily swap them out on the fly, because swapping them out on the fly means taking out your battery.
Yeah, it's a pain. I mean, I agree with that sort of critique of their approach, because right now in the U.S., there's only one module that you can buy because the Hi-Fi doesn't exist here. So there's the camera hump add-on. So you see it's got the battery attached there.
Right.
You slot it into the phone, and like it's gigantic. You're not going to carry that around, and it just seems like I'm not against the idea of having like modular phone. Like you can attach things to it and make it do new stuff. That's great, but the modules should be more compelling than this, especially when you have to shut the phone off to swap them, and I actually don't know how much they're selling that camera module for.
I believe it's $70 on.
That is
come on.
That is
Come on, dude. Look, okay. I mean, how many times throughout either of your experiences with the device have you been like, oh man, gotta take a photo real quick. I really want to get a good one. 1 second. Let me power my phone down and pull the battery and stick this thing in.
The only reason I could imagine that you would attach this module is if like you're going to some sort of event where you know you're going to take just a ton of pictures. Because I mean, it's kind of nice that it has an extra, I think, 1200 milliamp hour battery in it. Like,
sure.
That'll be cool and all. But like then you're gonna not be taking pictures for a few minutes. And you're gonna put it in your pocket, and you're like, why did I do this? This is so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But okay, so then the price I think is the big problem for the G5. Like I don't.
Definitely.
I think I haven't had the phone long enough to have a firm opinion on it. So I'll withhold judgment. But I don't feel like I'm going to dislike it as much as David does. But I will say I think the price is not smart at all, because last year the G4 launched at $599, and almost immediately they had to discount it. And this one is launching at over $600. I think it's like $630 or $650 depending on the carrier.
Are you kidding me?
I think AT&T is even more expensive.
Yeah, AT&T is $670.
Yeah, it's not. That's way too much. It should be $100 less. And maybe LG just like they can't make a profit selling it at that price or something. But especially when you're pushing this thing where people are going to then buy a $70 module for the phone, I think that they need to sell the phone for much less money.
Yeah, I think the problem here is you're paying for components you don't need. The dual cameras on the back, I'm sorry, you don't need that. It's a kind of a nifty idea, but...
Okay, I will say, you don't need that, but I showed that to my wife, and she was immediately enamored with it.
I can definitely see the use for group shots and stuff. It's cool, but... your average smartphone buyer probably is not. If you tell them, well, that adds like $30 to the cost of the phone, you might get a little bit of a different response. And then that same thing goes for, do you need a Quad HD display on this phone? Well, probably not. Do you need this modularity aspect implemented in this way where it's a part of the structure of the metal body of the phone, if that's going to cost you a significant amount to do that?
I think that's the key right there, David.
Not.
I think that's the key.
So LG's basically, I think what they did is they went in and said, well, we've got this bill of materials that we can work with. We've got a cap. How much crap can we stuff in here before the phone gets too expensive?
Right.
And they never asked if people actually wanted this stuff versus wanting a cheaper phone. And I think people want the cheaper phone. I don't think they want all this, this basically, it's fluff. Essentially.
Well, I think there are people who don't necessarily want the cheaper phone. Of course, there are people who want an S7. But the thing is, I think at this point LG has pretty firmly taken the anything but first place. And in order for them to justify a price that high, which they're trying to compete with this thing, they're trying to compete with the juggernaut that is Samsung. And they're just not coming close in terms of the quality of the build or the features that they're able to offer. So I think that they're just trying to overcompensate by being what I imagine they think is creative. But
I just would like to point out for the record that somebody on this show said they can't compete with Samsung's build quality.
Yeah, things have changed a lot in the last year.
Oh, how things have changed.
That is so. It's so funny. I was just shooting B-roll because I'm doing a video for on Android Wear, and I was doing some B-roll, and my wife picked up this, the S5, and she picked it up, and she goes, "Is this a skin on this thing? This feels disgusting." And I was like, "No, dude, that's just what it feels like. Like that is what it feels like." And
that
now,
is the texture of Samsung turning a profit.
Yeah, that's
You know,
exactly
like-
right. And this thing just feels like dollar bills, y'all.
I think I like the way the G4 felt more than the G5. Like
I
know
agree.
The G5
I
is made out of
totally agree.
it's made out of metal and that's great and everything. But like the G4, it was a very light phone. It was more compact. Like if you look at two phones right next to each other, the G5 and the G4 are almost exactly the same size, but the G4 has a larger screen. It just felt like a more like LG did the cheap materials thing pretty well. I think maybe going to this all metal thing was not the best idea.
I just want to know what happened.
Yeah,
I just want to know who got fired or who got put into power. Something happened. The Nexus 5 came out, and I personally was like, damn, LG's got chops. I'm very excited to see what else we're going to see from them. The Nexus 5 was just one of my favorite phones of all time, and everything since then for me has been just a massive disappointment.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily related to the G5, but I just want to get your guys' opinion on dual cameras and like why does that need to exist? It seems like
Okay, so
it seems
on
like
the
it seems like a really bad answer to something that could be solved. They're like, we want to do more stuff with mobile cameras.
Yeah. So my kind of point to this is the way LG's done it with the wide angle sensor is essentially, well, you've got these group shots you want to take. Sometimes, like you're in a room with a bunch of people. Like I was at Easter with my girlfriend's family at their house, and the wide-angle sensor was perfect for like capturing a picture of everybody in the room. And a narrow-angle sensor can't do that. You've got to tell everybody, okay, you need to get together, or you need to step back like 30 feet before everybody's in the frame, and then the image
Or we
sucks.
just do a panoramic.
Yeah, but panoramas suck too for various other reasons, and nobody wants to do it. Yeah, hold on,
Nobody
guys.
wants to be the guy
still.
whose face gets messed up on the
Yeah.
stitching and be like,
Yeah,
"Oh, Grandma
exactly.
looks weird.
So-
What happened to Uncle Tam's
So there,
nose?"
Ryan said, his wife thought it was, immediately had interest in this, and I can see why. I can see why people want. I think it's genuinely cool, but I also think, well, you look at the cost of the lens, the additional sensor, all the wire, the linkage into the ISP that has to happen, and then the whole UX of switching between cameras, which LG's done an okay job of it, I think, but it's still a little bit weird.
I don't know.
It's just strange.
Is
we
there
keep
a
seeing
reason they
phones with
could?
two cameras, and I feel like it's the wrong answer to the right problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why they couldn't just use a very high resolution wide angle lens and then in post correct for the lens distortion? So that you just use
I
one
wonder.
lens?
Maybe it just looks like crap. Maybe the lens is available for smartphones. It's just you're going to end up with a shitty looking picture. I don't know. But yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of like saying, I want to build a big luxury sedan that's got enough power to get on the freeway, and I also want to get good gas mileage. So let's stick a V8 and a 4-cylinder in it. It's going to have two engines. And it's kind of that same principle. I mean, obviously the cost and the practicalities are very different there, but while I like the wide-angle sensor on the G5 and I think it's capable of taking some cool shots, I at the same time don't feel like it's such a game changer that anybody's going to go out and buy this phone because of it. And that, to me, is the real problem. And then getting back to the metal thing, yeah, LG botched the whole metal body thing. They screwed up. Like, it's bad. This is an ugly phone. It doesn't fit together right. Like, if you press the edges of the bottom chin against the body of the phone, it's misaligned on both of my devices. There's a gap there where you can see through it on the edges. And it also adds this line on the bottom of the phone, which you won't be able to see on the webcam. But basically, on my T-Mobile G5, which is found in production, the break on the back of the phone where the chin slots into the main body, the line is more visible on the left side than the right because it's crooked. And it's just like, guys, this isn't worth it. You're over-engineering.
I'm confused as to why the V10 exists and the G5 exists.
Yeah, I think
Like-
the V10 was overall a better pick for LG because basically they did what I think LG's strength could be. Let's fucking stick all the specs we can in a phone.
Yeah.
And then, people are going to buy that because there's this crowd for this kind of phone. They
Right.
want the best. And they don't really care about, the practicalities. Whereas the G5 is trying to make mainstream all this weirdness.
Yeah, I think if I was thoroughly confused when they announced the V10 in the first place. I have no idea why the V10 isn't the G5 and the G5 isn't some offshoot side project instead of their flagship for the year.
Yeah, it definitely seems more like an experiment to me than a mainstream phone. I don't
For
think,
sure.
the thing to me is, so when you walk, the average person in America at least, walks into a Carrier store or a Best Buy or some other electronics retailer, and you know what they're looking at? They're looking at phones. They're not looking at the attachment that goes on the phone. They're not looking at the 360-degree camera you can buy or the stupid VR headset. They're looking at the phone. And as a phone, the G5 compares poorly in most respects to the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge.
And really quick, just before we move on, I want to circle right back around to what I think it was Ryan who was saying, that the cost of those modules is so prohibitive. Think about when, like you said, the average person in America walks into a retailer to purchase themselves a new phone. They likely saved up for it. They likely know how much that phone is going to cost. If they don't, then they go in there. They have a budget. They know how much they want to spend. And when you're there at checkout, unless they're going to say, hey, here's a free case that this comes with you, with the phone, any add-on that they offer you is an upsell. And me, as a consumer, I say no. I say no almost every time. And if you're going to tell me that there's a camera module that I can buy for $70 extra at the time of purchase for my phone, I'm going to laugh in your face and ask you to show me a different phone.
Yeah, let me just see how those dot view cases did for HTC's phone.
Right.
It's, you know what, in all honesty, probably the dot view case is more functional than this than this other camera case. I mean, the camera case has battery, but I just think I think LG misread the market real bad with this phone.
I mean, I know that LG is having these events to get companies interested in making modules for the phone, and that's great. But they should have done that 6 months ago, so that when the phone came out, there were actually modules for it.
And also, why would you build one? What's the incentive? Well, we don't know how well this phone's going to sell, but if you make a module, it might sell better.
If LG is trying to make this whole modular phone thing happen, then they're going to have skin in the game. Like, they would have to say, okay, company X, if you make this, we'll buy however many thousand of them and distribute them online or something.
And of course,
right.
LG, who does not turn a profit with their smartphone business, for the record, they break barely even every quarter.
Right.
They have no reason to do that. Why would they spend money on this when it's probably a guaranteed failure? I mean, essentially, that's what they're saying. So to me, this is no different than saying we're going to do an app store, but it's going to have hookers and blow, and our app store is going to be so much better because it's our app store, and you should come develop for our app store because it's awesome or whatever. Look at all the APIs we have. And then it was like, well, so how many phones are you going to sell that have this app store? A little bit or whatever, I guess, some phones. and then everyone's like, let me get back to you on that. And that's how I feel about the chin slots. The chin slots, I feel like LG actually really pivoted away from those as being a big focus of the phone. They're moving more toward the Cam 360 and the VR and the robot maybe in some markets. The robot does not seem to be marketed in America.
What I've been seeing in terms of marketing is a really big push for what are they calling it? LG 5.0, whatever the software
the
is.
UX 5.0, which is absolutely no different. Let me tell you, if you are expecting a sea change in LG software with UX 5.0, this is like a crappy Mako paint job on a 91 Thunderbird.
It
sucks.
No app drawer though. I mean,
but they're going to add back a toggle to add the
app
drawer.
Yeah, it's like that's not on the phone right now.
That's great.
If you buy the G5 and you try to turn on the app drawer, the option just is not there.
Yeah, it's not there right now. So yeah.
So that means we're going to have disabling bags as an option.
Yes, disable the bags.
I can only imagine, I can say as a former product manager, I can only imagine how livid it must make Liam to know that what they decided for the name of their spin on Android is UX 5.0.
Yeah,
which is just...
It's very much like how Apple has claimed WatchOS and tvOS as just the names of their thing, that's theirs now, and nobody else can say that.
You can't just call it. You can't just say UX. What do you mean UX? UX what?
They should
UX
just
what?
They should have just called it GUI. That would have been better.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been that would have been better, honestly.
And their marketing, their like commercials could all have Lady Gaga's GUI playing in the background.
So, and just for those people who were listening earlier, the email I received from LG, which I will not repeat on air because it's from LG corporate, and the words honesty, disappointment, and trust were used extensively. And yeah, so I don't know. If there's a new V phone that's super cool, we're probably not going to get it before it comes out.
Yeah, probably not at this point.
Probably not. And at the end of the day, I'm okay with that. We did not get a lot of LG phones after I reviewed the Optimus 4X HD for a while. Because, man, that was a crappy phone. And it was kind of like, oh, well, I guess you don't want to review any LG phones after that for like a year and a half. So
Yeah.
we'll probably get some LG phones, maybe in a couple of years
But-
again.
I mean, and I don't count as a reader, but I would rather us be honest than continue getting devices, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
I will say there was a lot of issue with the word mess in the title. Mess is not a marketing-friendly word.
Yeah, no, you can't just like blank that out with ellipses in the
I'm
full
sorry,
quotes.
mess can totally be a marketing-friendly word. You could just be like, it's got a mess of features.
I'm gonna write this one down right next to TVs have to include tuners or else they're home theater displays.
Hey, you know what? That person from Vizio, guess what? She never emailed me back. Surprise!
Damn it, guys! I got videos to make.
One more final note, though. I totally don't really care about metal bodies on phones. What I want to see out of the body on a phone is a clear plastic phone.
So like the Firefox
yeah.
phone
Inside.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God! You just blew my mind. I just want a Game Boy Color,
Yes.
like the Game Boy Color case on a phone.
I would
would be-
buy that all day long.
I think that the 2016 Samsung phones, if you took the glass back off, you could like peel the
Note
colored
5.
film
Yep.
off,
Note
and
5, you can do
it
that.
would just be a clear piece of glass. So that exists if you want to start modding phones.
Okay, so we have a mess of emails.
We have a
Yeah.
mess of emails. All right, so we'll start with the first one. Hello, AP. I was wondering if you knew of a way to do audio to Chromecast audio and to the regular Chromecast at the same time. I know multi-room for Chromecast audio is a thing, but wasn't sure if you could do it with a regular Chromecast instead of just Chromecast audio. Thanks, love the podcast.
As far as I'm
No,
aware,
we don't know. Moving on, next question.
Okay, I think we do know this one, and you can't do it right now. I'm not sure if that's coming in a later update or what, but I think it's only Chromecast audios that can do multi-room audio for now.
Bummer.
I'm not sure why. Why would you want it to sync up with your video? Are you trying to watch something?
Well, no, because you've got like a Chromecast for TV in your living room, but it's hooked
Right.
up to your home theater system. And then you've also got one like in your bedroom or your kitchen, and you want to play the same music in all the rooms at the same time.
But you don't
this-
want to buy another Chromecast audio for your living room because you've already got a Chromecast.
Yeah,
Sure,
exactly.
and then you'd have to switch the plug. Yeah, okay.
They should be able to do this, but
To be
they
fair,
don't.
I mean, you could totally do the video thing too, where you could step into the kitchen. No, that actually totally doesn't work. You just turn the volume up on the TV. Never mind.
Okay,
Forget it.
next.
So, hello AP. Soon I'll be moving from a Nexus 5 to a Nexus 5X. I've created individual permissions for every app that I have to transfer my settings from an old phone to a new one. I will use this feature from Android where I can tap two phones through NFC and it will do the rest. With this option of switching phones, will it also move permission settings for every app, or do I have to do it manually? Best regards, Dominic.
Does anyone actually know the answer to this?
Um,
Go ahead.
I'm like 90% sure that it does not transfer.
Yeah, that's what I would think too, because messing with permissions would require you to accept the permissions or
Yeah, I'm
whatever.
pretty sure that
probably.
the apps, the first time you run them on the new phone, they will ask for permissions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I've gone, David, everybody I'm sure has, but going from device to device so many times, every time you have to re-enable the permissions.
Yeah.
Every time.
Okay.
Every time.
So yeah, probably not going to carry over. Would be nice if they did, but they probably don't.
But security.
But if they do, let us know, because then we'll
Yeah.
write an article about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of one really fast way to find this out.
What is it?
Do
Liam?
it.
How?
Yeah,
Yeah,
do it.
I mean, like I don't manually change the permissions on my phone. Like whatever an app asks for, unless it seems super fishy, I allow it. So I don't have a lot of points of
neither do
reference when
I.
I switch phones.
Yeah.
But if if he says he's got like manual permissions for everything, he would know. So if you notice.
All right, so we have next our first home screen to critique.
Our first home screen. All right, I'm gonna pull it up here.
Same Z's. Here we go. I have not looked at it yet.
So this is from Zachary. He says, "Here are my home screens for you to critique." Very short, sweet. Thank you, Zach. So yeah, home screen. David, I'm especially interested in your thoughts. There appear to be no folders, at least on this first page. We've got another page.
There don't.
Yeah, I don't see any folders.
There are. We've got 3 widgets in tow here, but these widgets generally seem allowable.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like
I'm
these.
I'm very pro this home screen. That's the weather timeline widget there. That's a good
Love weather
widget.
timeline.
Weather
Although
timeline
I
is the
find it
best.
odd that he has that on the second home screen, and
I was about to say exactly that, Ryan.
Maybe
that
he
is odd
likes
for me.
that clean picture there of the.
I mean,
the
I can
Ferris
get
wheel.
behind that. I'm cool with like the very limited use of icons on the home screen. I think too many folders is bad. He's just got 2 rows of icons on each screen. I give this home screen 2 thumbs up.
All right, I'm gonna give it. Well, I mean, if we're going by thumbs, I guess I give it 2 thumbs up. Maybe like 1 and 5
Okay,
6
do you
thumbs
have
up.
how many? Okay, pretend you have 10 thumbs.
All right, so I'm gonna give it 9 out of 10 thumbs, only because Google Maps is on the second pane. I mean, what the hell? Everybody's using Google Maps all the time. It should be on your go-to list.
Okay, so here I think folders are allowable for several things. Folders are allowable on your home screen for like Google Apps, and putting that like in the bottom in the favorites thing or on the front home screen to have all the Google apps, I think is acceptable. That's where I keep mine. But I can see somebody if you don't use navigation a lot, then maybe you don't need maps easily accessible.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I just like to stare at maps more than your average person. I don't know.
My,
Maybe I'm the weird one here. I probably am.
I'm
My
a little
only
bit
complaint-
confused on this home screen as well. I'm not a big proponent of the Contacts app. I don't know why it's even still anywhere.
I don't get it either. It's just go to the damn dialer. All right,
Just
just
go to the-
just
yeah,
be a
just go to
normal
the
person.
I don't know why. Just use your brain. Just go to the dialer. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. And I'm not sure why you've also got a driving shortcut here, dude. Like,
What does that do? I'm
think
curious.
That
because in
should
driving mode.
yeah.
Okay.
right, it puts you right into navigation, but like,
Okay,
don't
so
you
do
need
you-
to find your destination first? Like, don't you need to
I
go to
think-
Google
I
Maps
think you
first
can do
anyway?
it. Well, you can do it by voice, I think, right away from driving mode.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you could
Alright.
do that from the Google widget at the top by saying, "Okay, Google, navigate to whatever." Like,
My issue is that the shortcut icons, because shortcuts I guess count as widgets, and Google doesn't care about widgets,
That's correct.
are hollow to the core, and I hate them so much.
they are. I agree with you,
It's really more of a criticism of Google than
Yeah, it's of
something
Google.
that way.
It's not his fault. Although I will say that I replaced the icons on my home screen with custom ones because I hated
Yep.
them that much.
So it is a little bit his fault because he could very, very well just get a different launcher and change the
I
icons.
know this person is using Nova because there are 5 rows of apps.
Good catch.
That's actually no, that's not true. That's not true.
I have
There-
5 rows. I have 5 rows of apps on mine, and I'm using Google
You
Now.
do.
Oh wait, did
Yeah,
you see?
it depends on the size of your device.
Yeah,
some
did you say-
devices support 5 rows and now.
So
I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna put this
Yeah,
on.
I think just the Nexus 5X and 6P2.
I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna put this on the screen for 2 reasons. One, to show that Google Now Launcher can do 5, but also because there are 5 folders to annoy the
Oh
piss
my
out of
God.
David.
wait, I have 4 folders.
5
Oh my
folders
God!
side by
All
side.
right, so Zachary, thank you for sending in your home screen. It's actually pretty good. I will never give any home screen 10 out of 10.
I just want Android devices to be like iOS devices where you get 4x4 or whatever it is on every single device, no matter how enormous it is.
Yes. All right, so our next
Okay.
one is from Sai from Singapore. And
Oh,
his
sigh.
his home screen
Yeah.
is Material
Yeah.
YOLO to the max score.
Oh,
That is, I
yeah,
recognize
wow.
that. That's a background from the Backdrops app. And he's got a buttload of folders, and there are emoji in the names.
Oh wow.
Okay, I like the emoji. Points for that. There's too many folders. It's stressing me out.
Yeah,
this-
there's way
this
too
is-
many folders going
Is
on
this
here.
the first page?
No, I think that's the second.
That's the
Well,
second
it
one.
doesn't- Okay,
Yeah.
I can't tell because he's using some custom launcher. It doesn't have the dots on the bottom.
Right, he hid the dots, but I think the second photo is the first page because
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
not
I would
that,
think
that
Yeah,
one
it is. It's got to be. Unless you're a crazy person, you're not using that second image as the,
Yes,
as the
this is
second.
this is the first page, guys.
It's got to be the first page.
This is
Okay.
the first page.
All right, I am
I
curious what that weather widget is.
I think that's that fork from Cyanogen. I forget what it's called.
Oh,
I don't
boy.
know.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, I would have to look up the name of it.
There is very little that bothers me more on a home screen than
Oh,
a
man.
goddamn clock. There's a clock at the top of the screen no matter where
This
you are.
is
If you wanna
the
know what-
best. Yeah, this is a great point.
if you want to know what time it is, just look up.
This
Just look up. It's
this
there.
is very true. Although I mean, sometimes having a bigger clock is something people want. I get it. I guess.
I
Even
mean,
though-
are the
people-
squigglier numbers harder to read?
hey, look, you've got young eyes. All right, don't be discriminating.
Oh boy, this is yeah. So for the most part, what I'm seeing here is, it's kind of like, I'm getting that vibe I get when I see somebody's like rain meter setup on Windows, where it's all so delicate, perfect, and then you open an app and it's like spaghetti, and it's like this Drivo app. That app looks like shit as soon
Oh,
as you
yeah.
tap the lovely little icon. Like it
Oh,
just
yeah.
it's.
Oh yeah,
You
well,
into
I don't
a
know what
world of-
this. What is he using an icon set?
He
Yeah,
has
I
to be
think
because
that-
that's definitely not the
Because-
Google Keep.
Because
That's also not the Uber icon.
I'm
Yeah.
also
Oh, yeah, not
questioning.
It's like
that
he
says
just-
photos, but it has the focus icon. So what is the truth?
yeah, I don't know. I think he's manually changing some icons.
Sai, what is this? What can someone tell me what this is on the bottom right, like the rightmost icon on the
Looks
dock?
like
Firefox.
I was gonna
fox?
say secret, but secret closed. So I
Yeah,
don't
secret's dead.
Oh.
I'm not sure what that is.
Are you
I
It
don't
talking
know.
looks
about
like
this?
some kind of incognito. Maybe it's a shortcut to open like an incognito window. It looks like a fire. Oh, it's a fox.
It's a fox.
It's a
yeah.
Firefox.
That's a fox. Okay.
mean,
What is
maybe.
and what is this phone icon? What are all these apps? What is this? This is a mess.
Wait, no. What is the
Mark's
thing in
having
the
a
middle?
meltdown.
The center, the down at the bottom in the middle. What is that? Is that the?
Maybe the app drawer.
I
Although
think-
there's
So
No,
this-
that's
is
this rainbow thing. That's Chrome.
I was gonna say, is that Chrome or is it Currents? It looks
It's-
kind of like the Currents.
So
It
wait,
does look like Currents, but Currents is dead.
Okay, so
Currents is
Liam, can you tell
Yeah.
from this if it's Nova or something, or
It is Nova.
or is it some other?
It
launch?
is absolutely Nova.
Yeah, it's
He
no.
said so in his email.
Okay.
the sheet
Okay.
of paper
So-
on Outlook Mail says Outlook.
He says, Sai says, my setup. I have Nova Launcher and almost all icons
Okay.
have swipe up actions. Double tap screen for
Ah.
Google Now.
All right.
I guess
I
all the
see.
folders will make
That's what I
David.
was gonna say. He must,
Okay,
Oh
so
my
all right.
God.
Okay, so my key point: when you tap that red phone icon, if the phone app isn't themed red, I'm gonna lose my shit.
If the phone app doesn't call the commissioner directly, I'm gonna lose my shit.
So I would give this home screen. I would say 17 out of 20 featured rain meters on Lifehacker.
Oh my god.
Wow, I've got to give this, I don't know, 9 out of 10 anxiety breakdowns because
Yeah.
there is way too much going on here.
so wait,
Yeah.
that's like an inverse scale.
Yes, yes. So the higher, the worse it is.
I'm a little too anxious to rate it right now.
Yeah, I'm just going to give it a sound, which is.
Like
Ah.
there are like 90 folders, and also all the icons have swipe up actions.
That's what I really want to know. I want to see Sai do a what's on my phone video.
You know what,
so
I
that he
think,
could give us a tour.
Making your phone impossible for somebody else to use is a great security feature.
The greatest
Maybe
we could
that's
have.
it.
Yeah. So we have one more theme to go
One
through,
more,
and this
yes.
one is, one might say, a little batty.
This one is a little batty.
Actually,
Wow.
you might say it's a lot. I will say it looks like 1990s cartoon Batman on the background there, so I am okay with the animated series
Yeah,
reference.
that's
Yes.
that is fantastic.
So
It's
is
legit.
this a home screen or is this a lock screen?
That's a lock screen.
Okay.
Okay, wait. This
The
is just
Batarang unlocks the phone.
is this just his app drawer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like he's just showing us.
Yeah,
maybe he doesn't
no.
have anything
Okay.
on his home screen.
That would
Yeah,
be
I'm pretty sure
unusual.
his app drawer is his only app navigation method because he's got folders
Interesting.
in the drawer.
Interesting.
So real talk, your app drawer is so hollow that Matias Duarte is like rolling over. Matias Duarte wants to change your app drawer. He's like, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't have done this. Let's just pretend it never happened.
It is
A
possible.
tab labeled apps.
I think
There's only
he's
one
got.
tab.
So
This
he's
is
got.
very-
He's
this is
why?
very
Why does he
recent.
have? Why does he have one that's just an asterisk? I mean, I guess to get it near the top. But why don't you give it a name and put it up there someplace?
If you wanted me to, oh my, like I mean, Jesus, oh my God, dude, there are folders here. Why are there folders here? There are tabs at the top, and you have one tab that says apps. Make different.
I feel like there should be. I feel like straight out of Honeycomb, there should be another tab that says widgets.
Yeah. Well, it's
There used to be.
it's an option,
Yeah,
It's an option,
you can
yeah.
turn that right on if you
Um,
want to.
and I think you can change the tabs too. I should know this, but I don't. But anyways, I was like with this home screen until I saw this.
Yeah, I
You know,
just.
we just go- let's
so
just-
so
can
guys,
we just
I
stay
have to
here? We'll
interrupt
just stay
us.
here.
I have to interrupt us. This is going to be terrible for an audio-only show.
Oh my god.
Well,
Oh yeah,
I just
it is.
realized this. This is awful.
That's
so
why.
bad.
worthless.
That's why people like we're painting a word picture, and if they want to come and
We
watch
are.
the video, then they can see
Oh my God.
the pictures that we're describing.
To
Oh,
be
this
fair,
was-
though, weren't the antiques equally bad?
That's true, but
Yeah.
you know, people could like you said like LG whatever the fuck, because somebody could look up the LG whatever the fuck.
We
And
should
then-
And then they Googled
wait,
it while
wait,
they were driving
wait,
and got
I
into an
have-
accident.
You know,
I
if you Google Batman Hollow theme Android,
Let's
you're
make it a
probably not going to
gallery.
get a very good idea.
just Google Rick's home screen. No, I have a solution for this. You just take these and put them in the podcast post when you put
Yeah,
them
just
up.
put them in the show notes. Put them in the show
Image
notes.
that for life.
Well, yeah, nobody reads podcast posts, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
So this is a message to our audience. Read the podcast post if you want to see
Yeah,
these.
read it.
Yeah,
If you're
if you
listening
would
to
like
this and you're
Yeah,
confused.
this is the
experience
interactive
bonus content.
This is the interactive portion of the show where you have to actually go and look at something.
Because I'm loving this. I'm loving seeing what people do to their home
Yeah, seriously, this is
I
just
really am.
interesting.
I think it's also. I think it says something about this gentleman here that look at the top of the frequently because he's using Nova, so at the top he's got the frequently used apps turned on. So the frequently used apps are Nova Settings, Pocket, Chrome, Feedly, and ES File Explorer.
This guy
Awesome.
is hardcore to the max score.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I gotta say, look, different strokes for different folks. The other one I think was objectively worse. This one, look, I get it, dude. I see what you're going for with the Batman thing. I've got to give you, I don't know, 2 Dick Graysons out of 5.
Wait, is this the original Angry Birds he has installed?
I hope so.
It is Angry Birds vintage.
I
yes.
really
Wow.
hope so.
Nice.
Android Pay.
He's probably got hidden somewhere on his phone Angry Birds.
I want to know
Rio.
how
It's
he
a
got a
guilty
barcode
pleasure.
scanner with a blue laser.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I was just wondering that.
Also, what barcodes are you scanning, bro?
All of
Yeah.
that. Hopefully.
I will give this unusual layout 3.5 Angry Birds out of 5.
I'm gonna give it 3.5 pointy bat ears out of 5 because I
Okay.
feel like it's almost there.
It's
we have the
almost.
most arbitrary rating systems. I love it.
I'm going to give this 12 out of 15 retired Robin suits.
Ooh, very nice. Very, very nice. Are any of them made of spandex?
All of them are made of spandex.
Correct answer.
How many of them?
Do
not?
any of them have hard plastic nipples?
You'll all be very happy to know that in the camera shootout that I have that I'm working on, 6BV-S7, I did make
You
a
have
bat.
hard plastic nipples?
No, I made a bat
Yeah,
nipple
I was-
joke. I
I
made a
was
Joel
like, where is
Schumacher
this
joke.
going?
Like the S7 can see the bat nipples? Like that is...
Do you guys
I actually-
remember?
You guys can tell me right now, live on the podcast, whether you think the joke will land. But I was saying both cameras have their strong suits, but they both also have their not so good bat nipple suits.
I mean, it's a little bit funny in context as we were just talking about that. I think if I were watching the video, I'd be very confused about what happened.
Wait,
Maybe
bat
like
nipples?
maybe add a picture of bat nipples on the screen.
Oh yeah, it'll be video, so there will be a George Clooney in costume.
Okay.
Oh,
cool.
okay, good. That's fine. That's acceptable then. I appreciate this reference.
Okay, cool.
Not only do I appreciate it, I get it.
Excellent.
Those are
Excellent.
the best references.
Okay,
The ones I get.
So if we haven't scared away everybody, if you still want to send us your home screens and get completely ridiculous ratings of them, then please do that.
And if you're worried about being embarrassed, don't worry because nobody reads the post anyways.
Apparently.
Guys, apparently, and we're doing nothing to change that, so it's just the fact.
This idea is brilliant, and I'm really sorry, but I'm gonna just start doing it. Like, I'm just gonna start producing videos for the channel with this like exact idea. I'm just gonna let people send in home screens, and then we can all do videos together, and we can just rip them to shreds, and we'll all produce it real nice looking.
This sounds like a party. I would love to do this.
I will be in attendance.
Let's make this happen. We have to give it a fancy sounding name though, something that we can
Screen roast.
something that sounds very generic, but that we can then trademark and get yelled at for trying to trademark it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, that's a great idea. Let's
call it YouTube video.
Can we call it?
Call it AP
Can we call it,
reacts to home
react
screens?
to your home screen.
Oh my god. AP reacts! Exclamation mark.
Oh man.
Oh man, that's good. That's good. Well, this was a very, very fun first podcast for me. I will say that much.
Well, good. Glad you enjoyed it.
Well,
Hopefully
we will try to
everybody
lower
listening
your
did.
expectations next week. So.
Yes.
I'm excited
Alright.
to lower them.
All right.
All right. Well, hey, guys, if you have any questions or comments or home screens that you would like to send in to us, you can email us at podcast@androidpolice.com. You can also give us a call to ask questions at 530-HELLO-AP. That is 530-435-5627. And you can also follow us on Twitter at Android Police and on Google Plus and Facebook.
And once again, this week's Android Police podcast is brought to you by Linode. Check them out at linode.com/Android Police for a free $20 Linode service credit. Boom.
Boom.
I think that
Hey,
went
we-
well.
It did. It went long.
It went really long.
Yeah, we
For the
gotta-
shortest topic list ever. We ended up at an hour and a half.
Well, I think
Well,
part of it
it's,
is I don't shut my mouth ever.
It's the last week wildcard show, so we have 4 people.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Truth.
Also, the
I like how you don't consider me a person, Ryan.
Yeah, the
We have
okay.
you're not,
Let me
you're-
just go ahead and stop the broadcast.